kind of sends shivers up your spine when you read something that was written, in 1557,
Sí.
and you're standing here looking at it, still standing today.
Viracocha era uno de sus dioses principales, un ídolo en la época pre-inca al cual rendían culto. Era prácticamente, le llamaban el hacedor, el salvador.
The rise and fall of the Inca Empire. The Inca civilization flourished in ancient Peru between circa 1400 and 1533 CE, and their empire eventually extended across western South America from Quito in the north and Santiago in the south, making it the largest empire ever seen in the Americas, and the largest in the world at the time. What is the history of such a big empire? What caused the rise and fall of the Incas? Before we answer these questions, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as new videos are uploaded. The Inca first appeared in the Andes region during the 12th century AD and gradually built a massive kingdom through the military strength of their emperors. Known as Tahuantinsuyo, the Inca state spanned the distance of northern Ecuador to central Chile and consisted of 12 million inhabitants from more than 100 different ethnic groups at its peak. Well-devised agriculture and roadway systems, along with a centralized religion and language, helped maintain a cohesive state. Despite their power, the Inca were quickly overwhelmed by the diseases and superior weaponry of Spanish invaders. The last bastion of their immense empire was overtaken in 1572. This breathtaking ancient city, made up of around 200 structures built upon the mountains, is still largely mysterious. Archaeologists don't know what purpose many of the structures served, but its intricate roads, trail systems, irrigation canals, and agriculture areas suggest humans used the site for a long time, according to UNESCO. Inca origins and expansion. As with other ancient America cultures, the historical origins of the Incas are difficult to disentangle from the founding myths they themselves created. According to legend, in the beginning, the creator god Viracocha came out of the Pacific Ocean, and when he arrived at Lake Titicaca, he created the sun and all ethnic groups. These first people were buried by the god, and only later did they emerge from the springs and rocks back into the world. The Incas specifically were brought into existence at Tiwanaku from the sun god Inti. Hence, they regarded themselves as the chosen few, the children of the sun, and the Inca ruler was Inti's representative and embodiment on Earth. In another version of the creation myth, the first Incas came from a sacred cave known as Tampu Toku, the House of Windows, which was located at Pacara Tampo, the Inn of Dawn, south of Cusco. The first pair of humans were Manco Capac and his sister Mama Aklu. 3 more brother-sister siblings were born, and the group set off together to find their civilization. Defeating the Chanca people with the help of stone warriors, the first Incas finally settled in the valley of Cusco, and Manco Capac, throwing a golden rod into the ground, establishing what would become the Inca capital, Cusco. The expansion of the Inca Empire began by the time the 4th emperor, Meta Capac, took hold, but didn't gain momentum until the reign of the 8th emperor, Viracocha Inca. Viracocha began the practice of leaving behind military garrisons in lands to maintain the peace. When the rival Chancas attacked circa 1438, Viracocha Inca retreated to a military outpost where his son, Cusqui Inca Yapunqui, successfully defeated Cusco. Taking the title of Pachacuti, Inca Yapunqui became one of the Incas' most influential rulers. His military campaigns extended the kingdom to the southern end of the Titicaca Basin and hundreds of miles north to subject Cajamarca and Chimu kingdoms. Inca's religion. The Inca religion combined features of animism, fetishism, and the worship of nature gods. The pantheon was headed by Inti, the sun god, and also included Viracocha, a creator god and culture hero, and Apo Alapo, the rain god. Under the empire, the Incan religion was a highly organized state religion. But while worship of the sun god and the rendering of service were required of subject peoples, their native religions were tolerated. Inca rituals included elaborate forms of divination and the sacrifice of humans and animals. These religious institutions were destroyed by the Spanish conquerors' campaign against idolatry. The rise of the Incas. Inca society was highly stratified. The emperor ruled with the aid of an aristocratic bureaucracy, exercising authority with harsh and often repressive controls. Inca technology and architecture were highly developed, although not strikingly original. Their irrigation systems, palaces, temples can still be seen throughout the Andes. The economy was based on agriculture, its staples being corn, white and sweet potatoes, squash, tomatoes, peanuts, chili peppers, coca, cassava, and cotton. They raised guinea pigs, ducks, llamas, alpacas, and dogs. Clothing was made of llama wool and cotton. Houses were made of stone or adobe mud. Practically every man was a farmer, producing his own food and clothing. To manage the empire, Incan leaders came to rely on a system of roads. The two main routes were the coastal road and the inland road, which was called the Royal Road. Smaller roads connected them. Some historians have said that the Inca's system of roads was as impressive as that of ancient Rome. About 15,000 miles of road linked all corners of the empire. The roads crossed tropical jungles, high mountains, and raging rivers. Incan officials used the roads to travel throughout the empire. There was a shelter along the roads every 15 to 30 miles to give travelers a place to rest. The roads allowed the emperor at Cusco to communicate with officials in distant places. The Incas sent messages by an elaborate relay system. They built messenger stations every couple of miles along the main roads. Chasquis, or messengers, carried messages from one station to the next. Using this system, messages could travel more than 250 miles a day. A message consisted of memorized words and settings of strings called quipas. The quipas served as memory aids. Knots tied in various places and on strings of different colors represented numbers. The Incas had no system of writing, but the quipas proved to be an effective substitute for written language. The Incas used them to keep track of civil and military populations, as well as to record their legends and achievements. Inca falls to the Spanish. The empire reached its peak after the conquests of Emperor Huayna Capac, who reigned from 1493 until around 1527. At its peak, the empire included up to 12 million people and extended from the border of Ecuador and Colombia to about 50 miles south of modern Santiago, Chile. To support this empire, a system of roads stretched for almost 25,000 miles, about 3 times the diameter of Earth. As the Spanish conquered the Inca Empire, they were impressed by what they saw. Inca cities were as large as those of Europe, but more orderly, and by all accounts much cleaner and more pleasant places in which to live, wrote McEwen, the author of the Incas' New Perspectives. In fact, the road and aqueduct systems in the Andes were superior to those in Europe at the time. Across the waters, the Spanish brought one of their strongest and invisible weapons with them: diseases that the Inca populations had never been exposed to. Smallpox wiped out much of the Inca population, including Capac and the successor he had chosen. After Capac's death, his kin battled for power, and his son, Atahualpa, eventually succeeded. But the Spanish conquistador, Francisco Pizarro, successfully lured and successfully captured Atahualpa, eventually killing him and easily taking over Cusco with their more advanced weapons. The Spanish, wanting to keep peace with the locals, installed a puppet king, Manco Inca Yupanqui, but him and his men were later forced to retreat to a village in the jungle called Vilcabamba, the last remaining bite of the Inca Empire, until it disappeared in 1572. That's it for today's video. Don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and tell us what you want to see next in the comments section below.